Okay, in order to kind of get out of here a little early, we want to go through the additional warrant articles, which is 32 and on up through 45. 32 is to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $2,500 in compensation support for the following social services. That is a little bit higher than last year.
Yes.
We have to pay a sheriff, and it's just slightly less than $400.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't have the, as I understand, we had to pay it.
This is Memorial Day, July 4th, holiday stroll, emergency.
We had one of them.
Didn't we have this discussion before about that?
I don't know.
Well, we've had a discussion on
Who was gonna take care of that?
yeah.
We did, and I called Diane, and I asked Diane, and she said she believes that the town should be taking care of it.
Well, that's legal.
That is, and she said that if we're willing to put it forth and they're willing to accept it, then we can pay for it. Otherwise, the discussion can be open again.
Take it as a
Any more discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, recommendation, recommended? I guess we're recommending.
Gotta speak quick, Greg.
30, yeah.
I do my speaking when it comes time.
33, to see if the town will raise and appropriate sum of $6,450 as support for general assistance. That is exactly the same as last year.
Sounds good.
Any discussion?
Did we spend that this year, or do we have?
No, well, no.
I don't think you know from year to year what
You
you
don't.
spend.
Well, we do. There wasn't that much money expended on general assistance this past year. That's not reflective of what could be expended on it. The other issue is we get a certain percentage back from the state. The question arose at the budget committee meeting, why don't we just reapply that? The problem is, we don't get that until the end of the year, and we need to have an expense account to pay out of. So that goes to offset the, it goes into the general fund to offset the expenses for the town.
Marty?
No matter what comes through the door for general assistance, we have to pay it.
We have to pay it.
No matter what we.
So I feel that this is probably, we were at 7,000 when I was here before. You dropped it a bit, that's fine, that's not a problem. And we haven't had that many people come in. We've had a couple that I turned away.
But you have other sources too, don't you get money out of?
Not for general assistance. We do have the emergency fuel fund, which you're talking about, which is for those people that don't qualify for general assistance, and it's an emergency, and so we try to get those revenues.
Where does the revenue that comes in from the state show up on our book?
It'll be up in the, well, it shows up at the end of the year, right? The full amount that the state reimburses us for general assistance. Where does it show up?
It'll show up in the auditor's report, state revenue. So with general assistance, he does his last report at the end of December, and it could be several months before we even get that money back.
Yeah, but it's a yearly thing. It's
Right, you'll see that when we go forward to, essentially, you'll see it when we go to a tax commitment, well, when the auditors commit.
So to see how much we pay overall in general assistance,
We
supplemental.
paid out $1,573. So far this year, we paid out $1,573.
$1,573?
And they reimburse us quarterly.
Yeah, that's the town, what the town paid out?
They've paid out so far this year.
Okay, and the state supplements, how much of that?
I thought it was 50%, but Dennis said that it went up recently to 80%, that they reimburse us.
And the only place you find that is in the auditor's report?
I don't report on general assistance.
Okay. So we don't know.
But she did last year. It was in our auditor's report. I'm pretty sure it was.
More questions? I mean, you're gonna pay it. All right, recommended, we're going forth.
36.
I got 36. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500,113 for the combined 2018 debt service, broken out as follows, and it's broken out with the last year's there also. Sand salt shed, new town office bond, and the capital improvement for the roads.
How much option on that?
Pardon?
Not much option in any of
I
that.
was gonna say, I don't see, we're not recommending it.
Is that the same as it was last year?
It's not, we're raising and appropriating the full amount this year. Last year, the $50,334, part of it came from the roads capital reserve to pay for the sand and salt shed, and the other portion came from the fire department's capital reserve. This year, it's kind of,
But we have to raise it appropriately because there's not sufficient funds in those reserves, as I understand
well, we're no longer paying on the fire trucks, so.
And the
we
fire
can't
truck's
take it.
strong, right?
Right.
Okay,
On that article, you need to add down at the bottom the total. With all your other articles.
Okay.
But that's a $50,000 increase to the bottom line that you did not see last year. I'm just pointing that out. All right, because you didn't raise it appropriately, you took it from reserves last year. This year, we're raising it appropriately. So you know,
But I thought the reserves that we used last year were just for the fire truck.
my understanding is you took it both out of salt
Only
sand.
30,000 of it went from the fire department's capital reserve to pay off the fire trucks. But this bond is for salt and sand shed and for the fire trucks. But the fire trucks are paid off, so now we have to still raise the full amount for the payment for the salt and sand shed.
we good?
Yeah.
Okay, 37,
Is this a-
37, yeah, to see if the town will raise and appropriate a sum of $50,000 to pay interest charges and costs associated with the TAN.
Did you see an increase here?
Yeah.
Well, when we were talking about the TAN note, originally we only went up 2,000 on it because we thought that the interest rate wasn't going to go up significantly. Out of caution, I asked Melanie to call around to the banks to see what they were foreseeing for an interest rate in February or March when we take out the TAN. And she found out that
And go say, our TAN interest rate last year was 1.17%. This year, you're looking at anywhere between 2.5% and 3%.
is the estimates that the banks are providing us. So the number is huge increase, but that's the reason why.
Well, we're talking about doubling 11,000 or 12,000, right?
Well, no, last year it was 18, but we only paid 11,000 out because we got enough money in, if you remember, that we
Yeah.
saved that 6,000 and I had the, well, I don't know if you guys
I
do.
think that always gets adjusted, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Always.
I guess the thing is, we're better off to start with this number,
Because we can drop it.
if nothing else, bigger, because when we get there, we'll know what we're gonna be able to borrow it.
We will know what that is by February. I think we take the 10 out February. Right? So we'll know. And then you can lower it on the floor of the town meeting.
Recommended? Got it.
But that-
38.
Just pointing out, so that's 50,000 plus approximately $38,000 added together is 88,000 that went on the bottom line that wasn't there last year.
See if the town will raise and appropriate $123,730 to pay general liability and casualty, workers' comp, unemployment, and health reimbursement. Administration fees for the municipal employees, that is up from 2017 substantially. Questions, comments? Yeah.
Okay.
We have a health reimbursement account, and last year, the health reimbursement money was put across in each department, but when it comes time to pay it, we don't know who's accumulating those payments. So we have, we put it together in one, at
Pulled it into our account.
pulled it into, and we fully funded it at $4,500.
Per employee.
Per employee, and there's 9 employees that use or have the potential of using health insurance. Last year, we did not fully fund it. It was $3,500 per.
This is one of those articles where I asked her to figure out what the experience level was last year with, because we don't know how much, do we know how much she put in?
I don't
We don't know how much because she couldn't figure it out. So, we know that she didn't put the full amount in, and so we don't need to put the full amount in necessarily this year. If not everyone uses it, not everyone will, then you don't have to fund it all. Last year, what was it, 29% was used out of the total amount that would have been required of over 30-some thousand. So we could go with 40%, 30%, but you're gonna have to expend it if they use it, but you don't have to budget it all, because we don't think it's all gonna be expended. Remember at the beginning, I said this was a fully funded budget, so we fully funded it so that you would be aware of that issue.
So is
When I
that,
say fully funded, I mean the full amount's there, even though you can cut it if
They
you want.
won't use what's there.
so is that at 100%?
That's at 100% use,
And we use,
30% last year.
So I guess,
Right?
yeah, I guess one of the other things, you know, makes it, I know this is the first year of breaking down some of these things, but this really throws off each budget and what we're looking at, what are their increases, because if we back out, these were in every department's budget, now we're backing it out, so, well, but their budgets are going up and we took numbers, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of confusing to me to, I know it's a good thing probably to do, but. it's
Because we
like-
you can't budget into one budget, because you pay out, but we don't know where, you can explain it better than I
We
can.
don't know what department to take out.
Yeah, how we always.
Because we don't
did, though.
hear.
I mean, how, we were doing it before, now we're gonna change it, so I guess when we're looking at the budget, I guess what would be good to know is that, if we're looking at the rec center or
Yeah.
facilities maintenance, these budgets do not reflect the insurance costs. They've been taken out of there, so the increases that you're seeing
You
don't really show, don't take into account that they're bigger than what they show they are.
Well,
And
they-
It would be good to know that, I guess.
They do take into account 100% of the health benefits.
Okay.
But this is the HRA. And last year was the first year that HRA had actually been funded. In prior years, we spent the money and there's no record that it was ever funded. So Carrie did it in the best way she thought was possible. After I went to pay the first time, I'm like, I don't know what account to take this out of because we don't know who actually spent this. So we started taking it out of one main account.
Yeah.
So,
we don't get the information on the person, we get the amount.
No, this is the best way to do it, it's just, I think.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Unfortunate that it didn't get done before now, because then it was in a budget, now it's removed, and we're looking at a budget, but,
well, I know with the administration budget, we only went up a couple $100 for benefits because we did take out the HRA, but it's also staying fairly close to the same because we're now 100% health benefits.
Well, if it's approved.
Dan?
I got thinking about this after we had our last little budget meeting, because we were talking about this. How come those figures can't stay in the individual budgets? And then once it's approved by the voters, you pull, according to how employees in those particular budgets have in health insurance, you pull that money out and put it into a health reimbursement account. It would be shown that it's expending out of their budgets into that.
That would solve Ernie's problem.
Right.
Is that possible? I don't see that as being.
Well, leaving it like it is today for a year would solve Ernie's problem next year,
Right.
where he knows.
And all insurances
Where
are
it's
all
came
together in
from,
one,
so.
because of the HRA administration fees come out of that as well, general liability.
Yeah, but I know what Ernie's been saying, it's the fact that you're looking at, say, facilities maintenance budget. Well, really, his budget's
That's
more than that, because you have the employees.
But then you have the rec center also has insurance. Each employee at the rec center has like some sort of liability insurance. The fire department volunteers have
Right.
insurance, so
But I was just wondering if you could put it into their budgets and then have an account that once it's approved, you pull it out and put it into that particular account.
Well, the problem might be, I'm thinking from an auditing point of view, I don't know much about auditing at all. The problem might be that if you approve $9,000 in the fire department and $3,000 in rec center, et cetera, and the only place that spends it is the fire department, but you pulled that all back into the thing, we don't hear who the person is.
right, when you approve it at town meeting, we can't go over, so if you approve $30,000 for insurances, then you can't spend more than $30,000, and we have to spend out of the fire department. If you're spending health insurance out of the fire department, it has to come out of the fire
We
department.
don't get the name of the individual, we just get the expenditure.
Right.
So you really can't pull it from one to the other unless you're approving it at town meeting.
Gentlemen, leave it like it is? Yeah.
But I hear your point, Ernie. We'll think about how we can give you that information at least some of that information so that you can adjust in your mind.
So I guess another thing, if you're looking at, if you just, and I hate to go on this, but this just popped into my mind listening to Dan also, is, you know, if you have a particular department that's using a lot of insurance, that would kind of put a red flag there. Maybe we need to look at what can we do to, if it's because of, again, I guess maybe the town's insurance, workers' comp will take care of any injuries, right? So
Right, and that's all in this insurance category.
Yeah, no, that's good, I guess.
Yeah, and if we don't hear who the individual is, we don't get the information about how workers' comp, we actually see the individual come into our office, and we know how to reflect that. In fact, I have an issue going on right now, and that particular department, I talked to about, you know,
So,
the issue.
Question.
Jack?
Yeah, is this big difference from last year just due to rate changes, or is it due to, in part at least, to redistribution?
Well, 40,500 is the HRA.
That's fully funded.
Okay,
But I've
and
already got a note.
that's about the difference.
Right,
Okay.
but I've already got a note saying they don't have the exact numbers, but unemployment's going up, is it unemployment or workers' comp's going up? Workers' comp's going up 26%.
No, I was just getting back to the point that was made this morning, where we were wondering whether I guess it was in the cemetery account that there was a redistribution. And the response was that there weren't any other accounts with the redistributions. So this is just new money that's being requested.
Yeah, the redistribution that you're talking about is, remember in the past, they worked counting hours for the facilities maintenance in the cemetery, they were just assuming it was 60/40.
Yeah,
Well, we started counting hours this year, so the redistribution you're talking about is the move to a different distribution from 60/40 to 80/20.
All right.
That's what we were responding.
that's fine.
Okay. Ernie?
discussing this, I got one more thought. I hate this, I really do. But the monies that are left that we didn't spend, does that stay in the account?
It doesn't, it's an expense account, it lapses into the general fund at the end of the year.
So, I guess over the years, one of the problems we was trying to avoid is that we don't lapse money into the general fund. If it's, then we have to raise taxes to pay for something that maybe if those dollars, if it was worded so that it stays into that account, if that account doesn't use the money, it's already funded. We don't have to raise taxes to fund that account. That way, because otherwise, and I think, Rick, you remember, we've had issues with feeling that these budgets are set up and then they take the extra monies and it gets put into the general fund, which is a good thing to build a general fund, but it's still taxing.
The same money again.
Yeah, but the general fund is actually, at the end of the year, that money is funding activities in the town for the first quarter until we get, or until actually, we get to the TANDO, then, so it isn't lost.
No, it isn't lost any, but the fact is that this is a tax bill that's going out. And if we got monies that were sitting in the general fund, which has no real direct impact on this.
And the other issue with that is that the expenses, when we do the budget, when we put together the expenses, we're trying to make them as accurate as possible year after year. And if you're funding it one year, but you're not funding it the next year, and then the next year you fund it, I mean, it's not even year after year, so you have a general sense of how much your expenses really are. And so I would just recommend lowering the amount so that there's less that lapses into the general fund, because we definitely will not, I can't say definitely, but we probably will not use
I'll make
$40,000.
one last suggestion, and I won't say any more. How about if we know what is left over goes into the general fund, that we don't do the article stating that we'll raise and appropriate?
Well, you have to expend it, you actually have to tell, to expend the money, you have to have something at town meeting that says that you're not, that the taxpayers are.
Yeah, but we can appropriate some of this out of the general fund, can't we take and raise so much in taxes, and then the money that's going into the general fund, appropriate that, so that now we're taking the dollars that went in, we're pulling it back out, and here's our money again, but it's not sitting in the, just on this particular
And you're talking next year to do that.
Yeah, well, that would be, yeah.
We could do that if you wanted to.
We could lower this one forward too.
Yeah.
That might be a shining point.
Well, first of all,
Well, I'm just throwing it out for discussion, I'm just saying, over the years, it just dawned on me that a lot of the monies that get just dropped back over into the general fund, not that it isn't, it's a good thing, but also it can be a negative in some areas if we do it year after year after year, when we're
and
gonna
that is if
have.
the general fund keeps building and we don't expend out of it. But we expend out of it. It's not like the money, I hear what you're saying, don't get me wrong, but it's not like the money isn't being spent on essentially, activities, you're spending on town activities that, then you wouldn't have to raise money. So it's not like, if I'm not, you tell me if I'm wrong. It's not like this money is just being saved. There are.
No, I know.
So it's all going back into the town, and they're not raising and appropriating that money that we expend for purposes that they would ultimately, if not there, would have to raise and appropriate.
But if I were a real interested voter, and I wanted, and at the end of the year, end of this year, you spent 70,000 of this 123,730, and I wanted to know where the rest of that went. And I wanted to know why you just can't carry that over to next year and put it in the same line item, which is what Ernie has
Yeah,
said.
no, I understand.
That would make a ton of sense to me.
But it's fine.
That way it's a trackable number, you know where it went, and it goes back in if it's not used. Is that,
Yeah, I guess I'd like to throw out one other piece of history. As I recall, we used to, and I think Dan, you was on the board then, we would, you know, you'd get to the end and you'd be looking at this is what the tax liability is gonna be, and then the board would make a decision. How much money we got in the general fund? Oh, we got X, Y, Z, so why don't we're gonna offset what we raised by $100,000. Didn't we used to do that, Dan? We would offset.
Yeah, you take the general fund and offset property
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah.
We do that when we commit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, we haven't done that for a while, and I don't think we can at this point, because I think that account is not, from what I hear, we was kind of.
But I think that issue is coming up again, looking at the bottom line on this sheet that we have here today. I think that issue is gonna come back up again, just as soon as we get all done this going through warrant article by article. We're gonna look at the bottom line and say, okay, can we accept this mill rate as the final number going in?
okay, gentlemen, did you get that as a note? I just said it was some odds. You understand what we want? Everybody agree with that? Let's go to 41.
Yeah, workman's comp, you said it's going up 20-something%. Who does town have workman's comp through, MMA?
Yes.
Do they have to go through MMA? So who's the actual insurance carrier that pays out on workman's
Yeah,
comp?
we
I
gotta do
don't
this.
know who the insurance carrier is. I pay MMA.
Okay, because I know there's some companies out there like Great Falls that's considerably cheaper than like Memec and some of the other companies that are out there. So it might be something you want to start shopping around.
We will look into that for next year, is that fair thing?
I mean, I was paying $3,800 on one guy when I owned my business with Memec, and I ended up going to Great Falls, and I paid $600 a year once I got done with them.
It goes up when we use it more.
Oh, I realize that, but there's also some companies that charge an outrageous amount because they think they're the only ballgame in town.
Okay, gentlemen, we'll look into that. Article 41, to proceed with voting on the following questions. Shall the town of Belgrade vote to accept a 12-acre parcel of property now owned by Peter and Larry Mace as a donation to the town, with the location of the parcel being identified, Humpty Scratch.
Well, we had that, a little bit of discussion, that the board's property down there on 27.
Article 41. Article 42, to proceed
Excuse me,
with.
that, take off the budget committee, I would say, off of that.
Yeah. To proceed with the voting of the following questions, shall the town of Belgrade appropriate an additional $20,666.74 as its portion of the cost of constructing an additional 500 linear feet of new sidewalk, and to increase the road's width, road width, yes, in Belgrade Village, for a total cost of $60,000.
Just to comment on that, I forwarded you an email, and we talked a little bit about it, because I was concerned about whether or not the 60,000 plus or minus that he put in the response that I had, what would be the cost, our cost pursuant to our agreement with the state. And he said not to worry, he said he didn't think it was gonna go over 60,000, it was a good number, this is already marked. So the issue here is we have 39,000 plus in the budget, in the reserve account for sidewalks. Added to that would be the 2660, that would make the 60,000 that we would, by agreement, with DOT.
Comments, Mr. Barrett?
Any of the work that Friends of the Village have in their project, will any of that pay for any of this?
The actual agreement, in terms of the one that we're going to sign, the city, the state city agreement that we'll sign in February, actually details, that's when we'll probably ask the village people to provide that money to us, because before we sign that agreement, we have to know we have the money. So yes.
I realize that, but this primarily is to pay for sidewalk, right?
This is to pay for the extension of sidewalks that apparently the board in the agreement agreed to.
But nothing that the village people are doing.
In access.
Okay, thank you.
As far as I understand from my reading of the agreement.
Theirs is all in addition to this.
Yes.
Well, that's,
It was all upgrade stuff.
Refresh my
I
memory,
realize that,
Danny.
I didn't know.
Danny, what does the 500 feet represent, from where to where?
Oh, boy.
I think
You guys probably know better because
Yeah. I think
Southern end.
it connects, it was gonna end, towards the south of the, north of, a little bit Pie, and this brings it further up that road. We agreed to that, just because to finish it off. I don't think it goes all the way to the dairy bar, but I think it goes
No, but I,
close.
The way I recall this, the sidewalk as it is now will be extended all the way up to Hellwood Pine.
Yeah,
So that's
that's what this is, yeah. Because originally it ended like.
Not
School Street or
beyond
something like that.
necessarily,
Yeah,
but two.
Yeah, up to that.
Yeah.
Any more discussion, gentlemen?
Okay, no, thank you.
Everyone good? And let's go to 43. To proceed with the voting, the following questions: shall the town of Belgrade authorize the board of selectmen to expend an amount of money not to exceed $10,000 for projects in the best interest of the town, with any expenditures over this amount to be advertised for requests for proposals that are to be put before the board of select persons for selection of the proposal that is in the best interest of the town. This article is to remain in effect until changed in the future.
this article is one that you've been operating under, but because it wasn't a forever article, it wasn't something that we had to operate under. So it was an understanding back in 2009, I think it was, that we didn't want to be able to expend, we asked the town whether or not they wanted us to only be able to expend up to a certain amount. Before that, we go off the best bid. So that's what this is representing. It just makes that permanent.
Sure.
Arnie?
I have just one thing on this, just over the years, I know there's been a lot of debate over $10,000 number. And does the board want to increase that to 15,000? Or, because I think, and again, I know you've been on a while too, that you've heard the discussion, $10,000. So do we, because it costs us money when we go out to bid.
Right,
So
absolutely.
do we want to increase it to
from
$15,000? Because this board really has control. We can
Yes.
still put things out to bid if we feel it's more appropriate.
Yeah.
So is that something that we want, because this is going to be done when it's.
It comes up pretty frequently, but then you can always change it next year if something comes up. But this comes up pretty frequently as a road commissioner,
Yeah.
because, so.
Gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
15?
Sure.
15? Any sage comments on maybe 20? 15 looks good?
For now, we can change it.
Okay. 44. To proceed with voting the following questions, shall the town of Belgrade vote to accept any unconditional gifts and unanticipated donations, pass-through funds, or any other funds that may be provided by individuals, business associations, charitable groups, or any other organizations which have not been listed in the other articles of the Board of Select Persons determining gifts, donations, pass-through funds, or other funds that are, purposes are in the best interest of the town. I think that's a standard, isn't it?
Well, it was in last year's, and the question came up when we were receiving money from DOT, whether or not we had an article. I couldn't find one, but as I was rereading the 2016 report, I saw this article, which is essentially, because it says to see if the town will vote to accept any unconditional gifts unanticipated donations or pass-through funds that may be provided by individuals, business associations, charitable groups, or other organizations. And because of that, I don't think we have to worry about, explaining to the town that the state gave us some $2,500 for the work that they did, or going to do on 11. So I think that covers us, but that's my interpretation.
Well, that just brings up Article 41, and that's a gift. Do we need that article? It's probably a good thing to go before we vote, but do we really need to do that?
Yeah, as I understand it, any gifts of land or whatever have to go before the board. They have to go before. This is a monetary, well, it doesn't say monetary, but it's pass-through funds, it's donations, monies.
Anyway, why do we need the word unanticipated donations?
Because we may not know, it's like the DOT, we didn't know that they were gonna come through, take some property.
I know, but why do we need to say unanticipated?
Just donations.
Huh?
Okay.
Just
It's
donations.
fair. It's fair.
Because in the final sentences, I think you say just gifts, donations.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Those last two articles, we'll take the budget committee vote off those two.
Yeah. Any more comments on that, gentlemen? All right, let's go back to, we didn't do 45?
No.
To proceed with voting the following questions, so the town of Belgrade vote to refund excess motor vehicle excise tax credits, but only as expressly authorized by 36 MRSA 1842, parent B unparent, parent R5 unparent, parent D unparent, question mark. This article is to remain in effect until changed by a future vote of the town.
And that one's my fault, that that's back on there.
If you want me to explain it?
Yes.
Okay. Back in 2008, the state passed a law that allowed the board or the municipality to vote to return excess motor vehicle excise taxes to the individual if they went out after having bought a $60,000 car and paid excise taxes on it. Decided that it wasn't the car for them, for whatever reason, or it was too big, or whatever reason, brought it back in with a small, and said, well, I turned that in, I now only got a $10,000 car that I bought because I couldn't afford it. So he may have paid $3,000, $2,000, well, $1,500 on the excise tax, and when he came back in with a smaller car, it's like $800. So the question is, does the town keep the difference or not? We debated this in 2008. In 2008, the debate said, no, the town should return that back to the individual, because why should he be paying the full amount? At that time, the town clerks and were kind of upset that that went forward, because they said, oh my God, it's hard, but it's the issue of whether the people deserve that effort or not. I will tell you that the town clerks are not all that pleased this year that this is coming back forward, but they understand the concept, and they understand it gets kind of confusing at times. We did not in 2008 we weren't thinking about forever articles in perpetuity, so Dan asked me, don't we do that? I
Well,
said, yeah.
the reason is I came in, I got rid of a truck that I had it registered for 5 months. So I came in, truck's gone, said I'd like to get my excise tax back on the unused portion of this thing, because I knew we had passed this thing. And they said, no, we don't do that. And I went, wait a minute. So I asked Danny to find out. And he went back and found out, yes, we did pass a warrant article saying, yes, we do it. But we didn't do it as a forever article.
How often does this happen?
Quite a lot.
It happens Is fairly it? frequently.
We get it on
Really?
the warrant quite a lot.
Huh?
It's a good thing.
I mean, I have nothing, anything against it, I just didn't think it happened that often.
It can be a considerable amount of money for some people. I mean, mine wouldn't have been all that much, $150, but still, you know, just.
Ernie?
Well, I was just gonna say, is like, if it was $20 or less, then the cost to the town to do that.
There is a cost
You know what I'm saying, is there a way we could incorporate, which would possibly help the people up front by saying, you know, if it's $20 or less,
If the return amount is less than $50.
or whatever the magic, you know, whatever the magic number is.
I mean, it doesn't matter with that.
Is that in compliance with the state law?
Well, I would check that out, but they're saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't, you know,
It doesn't really matter.
it doesn't really.
Because you're doing the paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, no-
Okay,
no-
gentlemen, I'm gonna say recommended.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. That was 45 now. The culprits.
You
Oh, I'm
need
sorry.
to add the select board, you need to add the select board vote to that one. You didn't,
Huh?
they didn't write down any recommendations, and they need to add the select board recommendations to the bottom of that article.
Okay, the recreation center. Articles 3, 29, 34, 46. If I can find it. Where is it? Well, actually, I'm looking.
Oh, you look at this, recreation review.
Oh, good.
And these aren't Bell.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
We have copies of the articles.
Article 3.
There aren't any on there.
To proceed with the voting by select ballot, by secret ballot on the following questions, so the town raise and appropriate the sum of $143,222 to support the recreation department. That is down slightly, about 2017 budget, 155, 551. Open for discussion.
Well, I guess, again, because of the way bookkeeping is done, my question is the budget, you know, the basic budget, is that down? I know we backed out different things out of the budget, so the operational budget, is that basically in line, or?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Sorry, the biggest change was just the change in staffing, because I'm not making as much, so.
No, that's
Yeah.
all, I just,
Yeah.
it was hard to analyze it because we've got some shuffling of certain things,
Yeah.
so to look at it, that's.
just so that you guys know, because we were here when we were talking about, we're streaming this live, so it's live audio going out to the web, so people are listening, so when you speak, if you can speak up. The second thing is, this is subject, the wages and benefit package are subject to the analysis that we're being asked to do to bring to the board on whether or not they want to increase the 1% in the health benefits to what I had suggested. I failed to bring that before the board prior to the budget, so we're going to do that analysis and then bring it back to the board.
So disregarding those two items, comments and questions?
Now, of that $143,222, how does that relate to the sum of $80,000 on recreational revenues on Article 12?
Okay, in previous years, two previous years, I believe, they had used $75,000 to offset their operating budget out of their fees. And this year, after I did an analysis, we talked to Linda, I sent it to Linda, I don't know if she sent it to you guys. We talked to you about it, we were gonna go up to 90,000 based on the differential. But Linda and I talked, and she said, well, she felt that 80 was probably a number that would be a better number. And that's essentially a number that just goes to offset the Parks and Recreation budget from all their work, recognizing that gradually they're working up to be fully funded by themselves. So this is just, I pushed it a little too hard, I recognize that when I talked to Linda, we're going up to 90 to offset, so now we're back to 80 where I think everyone's comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was an increase from last.
It was a $5,000 increase from last year.
That's good. It's in the right direction.
Any more comments, gentlemen? I'll say we've recommended it then. Article 29.
Can you do that one? Well, probably ought to run by these guys, what we,
And we said we just let it rot.
yeah, what she said.
Do what?
29, didn't we just say that we just let it rot?
Oh, this is,
Well, we did it, but they weren't here, so maybe we just should
Yeah.
Gotta give them a little
update.
do you want me to do that, or do you want to do
I
that?
think Gary can
Or
do
Gary, you want to do that?
Might.
This is the 29,500.
Yeah, just see if the town, yeah. Capital reserve account for the following projects center for all season. We went through this. And the discussion we're generally went around the fact that if we're gonna reside or paint that building, we're gonna do it again in 5 years. So what we wanna do is go out and start looking to see what re-siding that building will do. I think Gary Fuller's gonna go ahead and, or Gary's gonna go ahead and, Foss is gonna go ahead and make the repairs you need on the external part of the building, but we would like to see no wood on that building, and we understand that there are a number of different stakeholders that might object to that. But the fact is, over time, it'll save the town a lot of money to go to some sort of a lifetime siding on that building. Denny?
Yeah, and we fully intend, we've been asked to go out and see what it might cost to do something like this, so we can put that in the article. Recognizing that the Recreation Committee as a stakeholder will certainly want to be able to look at that so that you can agree and work with us as we move forward to look at a more permanent siding. And the intent is to reduce long-term costs in terms of staining and stuff. There apparently are materials out there that you would probably enhance the look of the building and not have to be stained every 5 years. And that, we wouldn't have to worry about the rot in the building and stuff. So that's what the intent is.
Yeah, I'm not looking at cheap white
Now,
siding.
my wife has said that it needs to be pink, so.
Pink's nice.
You got one head shaking your head, I want to know. Come on.
Ernie, go ahead.
I know you got the whole story here, but basically what we're looking at, instead of just spending $22,000, we want to spend a lot of money, just fix it right. Let's just
Like
get
the
it
roof.
done.
Get it done.
Hopefully
and
it's
Same
not
as
do
the
it
roof.
again.
Save over the long term.
Right.
And there'd probably be a number of different options, you know, in terms of the style or the colors, whatever, you know.
And the type of
so that-
siding.
Well, so that it could quite, you know, quite largely be the same color it is now, but just, we're not looking to change the, look of it too much.
One other thing.
Yeah.
I can see the shock on their face. They can't believe we want to spend more money than they're asking for.
They really weren't asking for the money.
No, I don't.
It's not just their face.
Valencia?
I guess my biggest concern would just be the people that had put so much into the building being built in the first place. Making sure that they do not feel that they've been overlooked on such a big decision on that building. There was a lot that went into that building in the beginning, and so.
There'll be a lot of conversations that have to be had, but we want to make sure we have the money available in the
Right.
articles, so people can vote on it.
Right.
So as we go forward, if people disagree with it, we don't have to expend it, I suppose.
No.
But the point is, I think there are products out there, and Jack is aware of products that, in fact, wouldn't change the look necessarily.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
but it would be more permanent, lower cost to maintain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the roof.
Yeah. Understandable for that part. What about the pool?
That was a yes.
The pools.
We filled it.
Thank you.
We're
Yes.
seeing.
No, I just did.
You wanted a beach.
Yeah.
Uh,
Got this little blue thing down in there.
Can I ask, the pool gets used a lot. I don't know what, I've never been in the pool.
It's great. You're
I've never
missing
seen
it.
it used because I don't spend that much time there.
You go to the lake.
But like at one point, certain people said, what do we need the pool for? If we didn't, like if that property didn't have a pool, we probably never would have put one in. So, but yet you use it a lot for rec.
And I totally agree, sorry.
And so
Yeah, we use it a lot for camp, and then we do, water aerobics and public swim too.
yeah.
And lessons. And
So what would you do if you didn't have it?
Actually, we did have a
Yes.
discussion at our
You be
last,
quiet.
at our last meeting, about other alternatives that we might consider. That is an old style pool, an in-the-ground pool. And maybe we should consider what sorts of larger pools could be put maybe elsewhere on the property, a little further away from the leach field, that are half in, half out. It just seems like a good opportunity to look at the big picture, similar to how you are looking at the siding issue right now.
That's probably something you should look at and come forward at some point in time.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Above ground pools are more maintenance though.
Do what?
Above ground pools are more maintenance, so I think you're gonna end up paying more maintenance over time rather than.
We actually, we accepted the fact that we're gonna fix
Yeah.
that pool.
It was a true gift that pool was there to the town of Belgrade, I think. And as a board member, I think that we're fortunate to have it and that it's worth the money to keep it up. The use is really nice.
The options of things to be done in the lake are not the same.
Not the same, no, not the same.
You would be surprised how many people won't go in a lake.
And you can't
No,
do
I'm
water
not
aerobics in the lake or swim lessons in the lake. Those are things that definitely have to be done in a pool. Those things bring more people around.
Denny?
Just one more comment. The only reason we were looking, it was a committee, a group of people went around looking at facilities. The only reason we had suggested an alternative is because we didn't know what the cost would be for the repair, to get it back into a standard that met the state's requirements.
Yep.
When the number came down to 75, I think my mind changed a little bit.
Okay, let's go on to Article 34. See if the town will authorize, and this is the one Jack was talking about. Authorize the board of Parks and Rec to conduct fundraising to support the capital and/or operating and programming costs for the Belgrade Recreation Department funding. Proceeds up to $80,000 will be applied to reduction of taxes and revenues above this amount, to be placed in the recreation equipment and repair reserve. Was 75, now 80. We talked about this a little bit. Is there more conversation?
I guess, since we're on that, I'm not concerned about this right here. And I don't remember if we ever really took any real action, but on some of these capital reserve accounts and stuff, I know the board had talked about putting some limits on
Yeah. That was a question that I had when I reviewed all of them. What I would like to do this summer is get a group together, maybe a member or two of the budget committee, maybe a board member or so, and look at all of the capital in Bellevue. Look at all of the capital reserves and look at those in a way that we do what we want to do with them. And then put it all out to the board next year. Not to the board, but the town next year. Anything that we change to this, so that we really just don't ad hoc, add a reserve here. We've been doing, if you look at the numbers, we've been doing ad hoc reserves. So I would say that conversation could be held this summer. Again, I think it should be held. I believe that we may want to have caps. We may want to have a better understanding of who gets to distribute money out of those funds. And right now, it's all the select board, which is appropriate, but we may want to have that discussion, so.
I know, well, I should say, as I recall, the board had pretty much stated that they wanted to see some caps, but that kind of like, then it was like, how do you break it down per department? So,
Yeah.
thank you for checking into doing that this summer. I think it would be
I
great.
think that's a good project this summer. We got a couple others too.
Okay, any more discussion on Article 34?
I just have a question. Why does the town have to authorize them to raise this money and, I mean, what if they just did it on their own without this amendment? Why, it could happen, it couldn't happen, they have to, it's a procedural thing?
It's the 80,000, we have to, the town has to agree that we can accept it, is that?
And we authorize them to do fundraising, and then we accept a certain portion of that fundraising to go to offset the budget. So I think that's a monetary kind of,
It's basically like the Friends of the Library. If it was a Friends of the Rec Department, we wouldn't have to authorize a fundraiser. We just have to accept people who
But it's
accept the
committee
money.
of
They're a town department, so you have to allow them to do it.
So, this is just a little bit of an aside. You know, we had this conversation about the library and the potential funding of the position. And Howard and I were talking with Dwayne Farnham afterwards. Would it make sense for the town to somehow come up with an article that authorized the library board to fundraise and apply a certain amount of funding towards their department, which maybe would help pay for contested positions or things like that?
They've already got that authorization, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think they do.
Okay, but that's another point, we can,
Yeah.
let's stick to the.
All right, but I mean, this is just a thought I had.
All right, Article 34, we're good? And final one, Article 46, which is
We can already dealt with that.
Article 46, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $30,100 to support the cost of salaries of the recreation department. Article 39, required if Article 3 is defeated. It's a contingency article. Any questions? I think those numbers will change, right?
the
If we
numbers that
decide to
will do the wage
change.
and benefits analysis, what you do with that will affect this, but that's the only thing.
So it's,
Prove the wage and benefits.
I take it there's no comments? We're good. Hey, thanks for coming in. Yes, you have something?
I know when you get around to doing, town reports, you may ask for folks to be, noticed, and I would like to just recommend Joe Adlam.
Yeah, that, I think that's, yeah. I probably will remember that. If I don't, Mr. Garrett will.
We're actually starting the whole, I've asked for memorial dedication to
Yeah.
who, we've asked for people to bring names for.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
extremely active on
Memorial
the
dedication.
rec committee, as I
I'm sure Linda and I can write up a blurb.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
We're looking for input, so,
Yeah.
and also Spirit of the Miracle with us, so.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Good to see you all.
Good to see you. Great to see you. Lily, next time you talk.
Hey, did you see me? I quieted
You were
right
very
down.
good.
I thought, oops.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. The dams people coming in?
They were notified, and I understood Tim Comerford was gonna come in, or Doug was gonna come in, but apparently they have either forgotten or whatever. And the issue here is pretty straightforward. It's the normal request of 10,000 for the
It's
standard.
35.
I don't care.
For the annual maintenance, and then there's an additional 10,000 they're asking because there's some issues down at the Wingsville that they want to address. That would bring the total request for Belgrade alone to the 11,200 figure, which was essentially the same as last year, because they were doing some maintenance on at the end of this year. at the Belgrade station.
Comments, questions?
Yeah, could you just very, very briefly describe what the extraordinary thing that's going on now is down at the Belgrade Lakes Dam, to the Durant Pond Dam?
Okay. As you know, there was a fair amount of leakage on the Fresno, actually, on the right-hand side as you're looking at Long Pond. What they did, they got the authority to do it without having a permit or anything, because they didn't need one just to get it done. They had a diver come in, they expended $13,000 plus or minus dollars, put a plastic line down, and then held it down with bags, right? With the understanding that they would then come back and finish it up with, by adding 12 inches of stone on top of that area and some riprap to hold that down so we don't lose the springtime, the rains, the flows go up and then all of that. The problem that has occurred and that we're working through right now is that DEP, because we notified DEP because we were doing something in that area, we didn't think it would, when I say we, I'm not on the team. I'm talking further, and I believe I'm accurate. We're gonna have a meeting to move forward. But anyhow, the DEP, the Dams Committee went forward and asked for a permit, or told them what we're doing. They said, well, before you do any of that, you've got to do what's called a Tier 3 review, because it's impacting under the Natural Resources Protection Act, potential resources of sensitive nature. Well, that kind of bothered me a bit, because there's also a section of the Natural Resources Protection Act that says the maintenance of the dam, if it's less than 50% of the value of the structure, no permits required. So, they've had a couple meetings by themselves. I went down Thursday, we established a meeting, I had the DEP come in, and we had the MEMA Dams inspector come in. The MEMA Dams inspector is supporting us. Why should we spend up to $10,000 to do this permit? That may take 90 days before they even agree to do it, allow us to do it, when we have more serious problems up at the Salem Lake Dam. Anyhow, he went through and said, this is what you have to do, and if we do some of the things that he said, then he'll allow us to move forward by putting the stone down, but we still have to do the after action permit. What I'm trying to do, and I've called in some folks, I'm trying to do is get people to understand that maybe, just maybe, the DEP folks are looking a little bit too restrictively at that. They should look more at the maintenance issue that I identified in the Resources Protection Act, the Natural Resources Protection Act, on dams. And maybe we can do away with having to do that permit, because that permit will cost me upwards, the highest not going to cost $10,000. That $10,000 would go a long way to doing improvements on other dams. That's the issue we're in, and we're held up right now because we have to do this initial review. We have to tell them what we're going to do, we have to put an engineering plan together, and we have to do the functions and values analysis of the habitat in the area. And to understand, you look at the dam, and you come out to the halfway of the southbound lane. That's where the stone's going to be. It's roughly 2,800 square feet. That's all. And there was a previous line, the liner's down already, the impact is done. All right? So you can see my consternation. Now, I understand the DEP guy has to do what he has to do. And they took it to the Bureau level. But we're trying to make the point that maybe it doesn't have to be done.
Good for the young town manager, not me, because I'd be doing what I had to do with the rock down and say, then come after me. And then
But I think short term, it had nothing to do with this article.
Okay, so that's, yeah, Ernie.
That's probably the end of it. Just one other thing, I'd like to leave everybody with a thought. And I just did these numbers roughly in my head. It looks like what we're looking at potentially here for the taxes for the year, including the school, is about a $1 million increase, which is huge. This is not. It's $4 million for ours. It's going to be $4 million on the bond if it goes at 13.9, which is 13,900,000. It's going to be roughly $4 million, and then the school budget is then $2 or $3 million. So it's just, I'm just in your thought process, you know. I sit here and I nickel and dime everything, but we're going to be looking at big tax. But I'm just throwing that out just so you all can be thinking about it.
Yeah, and one of the reasons, and I'll probably give a copy of this to everyone. It's a budget comparison 2017, 2018 analysis that essentially shows not exact dollars, rough dollar values of all of the increases over last year and the reasons why. For instance, you remember, I noted that $50,000 has to be raised for debt service because it was brought out. That's $50,000 of that increase you're talking about. $30,000 for a new building. We go right down. We're going to do the analysis on the wages and benefits. but it goes right down through there, it talks about those increases. So, I understand, and it is, but some things we can control, some things we can't, and that's up to you to make the decisions, right?
Well, that's the point, I truly, all I care about presenting is a case of who really need it. And if we don't, well, to increase the budget by this, to increase somebody's tax bill, I think we need to be thinking, I do, anyway, that's all, I don't care what anybody else thinks. That's what I-
Howard?
Gary, just to clarify, while some words were used there, numbers weren't, am I understanding correctly that based on projections right now, we're looking at a $327,000 increase in the municipal side of the budget?
Remember, that's totally funded.
I understand, but I'm not asking for justification, I just want to make sure I understand the number.
That's the number.
Let's go back and get this completed, please. We have Articles 39, 40, 46, and 47. Article 39,
That's what he said, let's get back.
to see if the town will authorize and designate a, or release the collective sum of $13,000 as dictated by the following trust and funds. That's the DC Stevens Fund for the public schools, $13,000. It's actually less than last year.
Well, actually, those aren't the exact numbers.
Okay. Questions, comments?
That is an estimate.
That's an
That's an
estimate.
estimate.
Yeah.
Good, Jack?
My comment is, I don't think that we should put those numbers in until they're exact
No.
for the end of the year, because I don't think we should be setting up a continuing accounting procedure for dribs and drabs of differences, and that's what we would be doing.
Comments, gentlemen? Article 40, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the amount of $960 and appropriate $40 to the DC Stevens Fund for a total of $1,000 to support the academic award from the town to the high, $1,000? Wasn't this 500 last
Yeah,
year?
we changed it.
But you weren't happy with that
Boy,
number.
you got that right. I'm moderately happy with 1,000.
Should have gone to 750.
Hey, at least the kid can buy a pencil and a piece of paper now.
That's 500 of the total.
Take a beer.
At least we've gone from $28 to $40 by investing it instead of sitting there sucking up the interest from,
I'm ecstatic over it. Anything to say? We're all ecstatic.
Howard, you had raised the issue of the wording.
yes,
Is this wording for case?
this is the correct wording. This is what we should be saying. Stop talking about scholarships, talk about academic awards.
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
Article 46 and 47 are the last two. Article 46, we've already visited as far as I can see.
Yeah, that was up on the recreation.
Recreation Department, Article 47, if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $17,217 to support the cost of salaries. For the library,
We visited that.
and I thought we did visit that. didn't we?
We just wanted to bring it down.
That's gonna be moved to the front and added with the additional article.
Well, no, this will be a contingency article, it should both fail. You want another article for the library, and to reflect the full-time position in the current situation.
48.
Both of these articles will also be affected by a wage and benefit analysis.
Okay.
48's already been done too. We got rid of that.
48 is gone. So what we have to do, gentlemen, is set up another, select board meeting with the budget committee to discuss specifically wages and benefits.
In any of the wording changes, we'd like to have that all kind of agreed to, so when you go to your final approval meeting, you just have to go bing, bing, bing.
I'd really like not to go through each warrant article again. I'd like to see if we could bypass lots of them.
No, we'll only do the ones, we'll only bring up the ones that are being changed on wording,
And
how it's changed by wages and benefits, or whatever. The policy issue that you have to decide will be the wages and benefit analysis, that's the big issue. The other ones will just be wording and.
Gary, if we don't address every warrant article, how are you going to
Well, a lot of the
reflect?
warrant articles don't have wages and benefits in them. So I guess we'll have to address each one it does have.
You're gonna have to read every one of them.
I don't know how you can avoid
We
reading
still
every
haven't
one of them,
voted.
because we haven't recorded anybody's recommendations.
That's right. Arnie?
I think there's a misunderstanding. We're having a special meeting to go over these special things we gotta adjust, and then when we have the
That's right,
19,
yes.
we're going through all the articles,
Yeah.
and that's when we go.
We will have a
Two
meeting
separate
to go,
meetings.
yes, to vote on
Oh,
each
okay,
article.
okay, I'm sorry,
This
I
is only
misunderstood.
wages and benefits.
Okay.
Jack?
Yes, I suggest as a part of that meeting, we have an analysis prepared of just what the municipal budget changes will be, a final analysis of what it will be, and looking at the suspected potential increase in that. Also, some kind of an analysis of how much money we have in the general fund and will have over the cycle of the year, and how much, if any, money can be responsibly appropriated from the general fund to cushion some of this increase.
I think those analyses will be done. How soon can we do this?
Well, I think we,
No, we're not doing it tomorrow.
Melanie said tomorrow morning.
No, she did not
I
say.
think next Thursday night would be fine.
Oh, geez, you got me.
You only need 4 selectmen.
Whatever
You
you
don't
guys
need
want,
5.
anything you want about Thursday.
We're gonna get more done.
Well, you get what she's getting at.
Thursday night before Christmas, can you do it?
I know what she's up to.
How
That
soon?
school bus ticked off.
How soon?
Oh, if you tell me, and don't
Hey, if you invite me to the game, I might be picked up.
Get your guitar and come on down.
Wednesday
What is
night.
that?
Wednesday night?
Wednesday.
Did you say Thursday night, the 14th?
No.
No, Wednesday night.
I deserve it. Beat me.
That will be a special meeting of the select board. The discussion will only be wages and benefits, either reductions or how we're gonna work those into the budget.
What
The
time?
following Tuesday, I'm hoping we can vote on the warrant articles themselves. Is that,
I won't be here.
how can we do this without you, Dan?
Well, there's a question, if I may. We won't have the trust fund numbers until
You can't be first.
the earliest, the 5th.
Well, that's good.
And you'll have to vote on the trust fund numbers in any case. So, do you want to push it off that far? Because you have to set up a public hearing and all of that for the warrant articles, the referendum articles. So, you might be able to flex that so you can accommodate Dan and.
No, I mean, you can. I mean, I won't be here the 19th.
Yeah,
I don't understand the concern about the trust fund numbers, understanding that we've got a number of things in here where there will be final numbers put in. The trust fund numbers don't in any way impact the tax bill.
No,
It's just a matter of,
he's just saying he'll have those numbers on the 5th if we want to push him off that
I
far.
was just
Well,
saying.
we're gonna have to do some things after the first of the year, because we have to do some things based on year
Yeah.
end. And the trust is one of those, and as I said, for a decision on the 19th, I mean, I have no problems recommending that we allow a trust fund expenditure of up to the amount that actually is the right number.
Very
That's
good.
all we need.
I was just trying to accommodate.
I know, but I guess that's something which I have a disagreement with Jack on. I don't have any problem with that.
Gary, what time?
On the 13th, that's Wednesday. Yes, 6:30.
6:30?
Everybody agree with that, 6:30? Only the two subjects we're gonna discuss. Then, when do we want to vote on the warrant articles? Do we want to do that following Tuesday,
19.
19th?
Wasn't that what you said before?
Yeah.
If we want to do it, yeah?
Yeah, that should work, and anything that's a little open-ended, we can just put in
13.
limits and just vote on pretty much everything. I don't think there's anything real pending.
No, I didn't see anything that, I thought they got numbers on almost everything. Okay, so the 13th and the 19th.
If you could ask the town manager to keep the agenda for the 19th as light as possible.
I have one last, Buzz Bumpkins, I have one last comment,
Yep.
and I gotta throw Gary under the bus.
Gary. I would do that because I like being
Because
there.
He just did too good of a job.
He does agree.
Oh,
He
yeah.
used the gavel, he just,
I thought that was.
very good, very good. Thank
Get Dan back in shape, get in his chair. Huh?
We're leaving the books to update them or what?
Do we want to leave our books to updates?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Please
Oh,
leave
leave the
it.
books.
You can take stuff out of it if you want.
No,
No, you can have,
no, you got it all.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Not yet. But now there is.
Is there a motion? Second? All those in favor, we are adjourned.
Thank you, again.
Thanks for your cooperation, gentlemen.
Here's what I'm gonna-
Really appreciate it.
here's what I-
just the way.
Turnpike's down 45 miles an hour.